All right, real quick here before the open, guys. I wanted to go over Bitcoin, blockchain, anything blockchain related, Bitcoin related, any type of instrument that'll move with crypto. Before I do so, come to ztrades.net, check out the terms and conditions page, read our disclaimer. If you don't agree to it, don't watch this video. Don't join the Discord that is completely free right here. If you do agree to it, come on in and feel free to watch this video. Let me jump into this now. Let's go ahead and jump over to Bitcoin. We just hit ATH, or did we? I can't really tell on Robinhood. We're at it. We're at it. I'm close. We're close. Violent, beautiful, perfect cup and handle right here. Look at this cup and handle pattern here on Robinhood on Bitcoin, right? I have the wrong ticker up here. So this is just fantastic. If we just look at the year, this is a gigantic flag. Lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And we're getting closer and closer to the roof in of this flag breaking here. So I don't have TOS up. We're going to look at some miners. I wanted to talk about the Bitcoin stock to flow chart. So you would want to come over to this website. I'm not going to say the name. I'm going to post the link in the description to this video below. Just take a look at this, all right? All these indicators. It's going to take a very long time for me to explain how these indicators work. You do your own research, all right? But this is the stock to flow model that they use for gold, and it predicts it pretty accurately, and it's been pretty spot on with Bitcoin. Every blue to red right here, right here, right here, right here. All of you look with your own eyes, all right? When it goes from blue to red is a halving. Happens every 4 years. The reward for mining Bitcoin is cut in half. What does that mean? Miners are responsible for around half of the selling in Bitcoin because they have to mine it, then sell it to pay the monthly financing costs on their mining rigs. So this is a lot of the big operations, right? Smaller operations do it, but it's not financed. Well, if they are rewarded half as much, which is less is dumped into the market, less dilution, and there's only half as much to sell to begin with. It causes a supply crunch around 170 days post-halving. What has happened every time? We exploded. When we go from red to orange, that's when it's getting hot. When it's yellow, that's usually the time to go ahead and call it, right? Where are we at right now? She's going from dark red to kind of orangish, and we're about to go orange and take off. So, I mean, this is claiming 1.2. I don't see that, right? I definitely see the twos. 230 easily, 220, 180 even. Trump has been influenced by Barron Trump, and Robert F. Kennedy. Trump's idea is to add Bitcoin to the Federal Reserve to help offset the debt. The interest payments, we've paid $1 trillion in interest payments. A little over a year. Imagine if that money was used to make America a utopia. Right? I could go on and on for how much that money could be used. We got to do something about the debt. So far, he's the only one I've heard that has a plan for it. I really wish there was other politicians that would. I don't want it to be just him. I want all of them to be on board, right? So if he adds Bitcoin to the Federal Reserve and we're buying what they said 251 a week, or was it a day? Don't quote me, fact check me. Can you imagine what that would do to Bitcoin? Japanese pension plans, which are collapsing, they're talking about adding Bitcoin to save it. They're talking about adding Bitcoin to the Turkish lira. Is that how you say it? The Turkish currency, which is failing. Pegging, like, let's say, the currency to 5 or 10% Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to have to be used to save fiat currencies and monetary systems. I really didn't believe it would ever become a currency everywhere. My buddy Chris showed me a book he read. This was in 2017 or 2018. Talking about how he won't have to sell his Bitcoin because it'll be currency. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. I don't think that would happen here in America, although I was wrong before because El Salvador now has it as legal currency. And it's becoming legal currency all over the world. in talks. It isn't happening widespread yet, but it's becoming more lenient, and the view is a little bit more at ease. You can see things are moving in that direction. So right as we're in the middle of a currency crisis with BRICS, inflation, all roads lead to inflation, right? And the government buying up Bitcoin right at the halving, which Z-Trades called in August of 2023, or excuse me, April of 2023, I started to scale in. I have it written down. It's very simple. You buy before the 4-year halving, right? And we're holding, we're waiting for this. Here we go. When we start, I'm going to be exiting by time. I'm not looking at the charts on Bitcoin. I enter prior to halving. I start selling when it gets orange. You know, I want to be out 6 months after the halving cycle. So 6 months after, a year after the halving cycle, 6 months after the 170 days, which is the average period that Bitcoin starts to run. So that's right where we're at, which is basically right there and right there and right there. So you can see what's happening. Each halving cycle, we're going to run less hard. It's not going to run as hard. Let's take a look at what was the, hold on here. What was, let me find it. No, it's not stock to, yes. I'm not going to explain what this is. Stock to flow ratio. You all do your own research. We don't have enough time. We start off down here. We go up. Bitcoin goes up. Every time. Start off down here. We go up. Bitcoin goes up. Where are we? Take a look at the bottom right when I move my mouse. Keep in mind, look at the top. Halving. Where are we? Right? You all look what this is. You all look this up. I just messed up badly here. Whatever. Anyways, let's take a look at some miners. I'm going to post a link to that website in the description below. Bit Digital, so I can elongate the chart using the linear scale. This is turning on linear scale, so that this, because if we spiked up and then dropped, everything's squished and you can't see what's, you know what I mean? You can't really see anything what's going on. Are you kidding me? Bit Digital is going to go loony. She could easily come to 14 again. It's $4 right now, in my opinion. This would be way down the road. Look at this insane squeeze we're building. Are you kidding me? Just like over here. Hey, look at that. The 2020 Bitcoin halving right there. And did it go up immediately? Everyone was claiming the halving event, right? Halving was a dud. It doesn't go up on the halving, you clowns. It goes up 170 days afterwards. Are we 170 days? Yes. Is it going up? We're at all-time highs right now. On top of a cup and handle break. This thing's going to go loony. With a squeeze right here. And we popped. We had another squeeze right there. And it led to that gigantic candle. Look at that. From 5 all the way in 2 weeks to freaking 32. What is that? All right, came back down, shorters covered. 382 all the way to 20 again. My gosh. So I expect us at some point, look at the size of this freaking squeeze right here. I'm looking at some point for us to go. Here we are building it here. Somewhat of a squeeze here. We did go up. We're building it here. I expect us to go crazy. Let's turn on the linear chart so you guys can take a look at that. WULF. I added Hive about 2 weeks ago. I got to take my watch off. I added Hive about 2 weeks ago. WULF, focus on the RSI. We got a squeeze. Had a squeeze here, right? Look down here, right? And we exploded. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Are you kidding me? And we popped. That is just wild. That is a gorgeous setup right there. We could see RSI getting tighter as well, and we exploded. 195 to 624. We're over 7 right now. This is easily. Let's turn this back over here. In this range, up in here, 13 easily. 13 to 15. Will we see this high? I have not done the research to check out the dilution and what's happened. We're building a squeeze right there. I got to see how much they've diluted it, or if they're still in the process. All right, I got to see all of that. Hive is another one, guys, that I've added recently. look at the squeeze. Let's go to a monthly. See what that doesn't tell me anything. We do have a squeeze on the monthly though. Let's go to the weekly. I'm not going to hang out in the little newbie daily chart. That's going to predict like, a week of movement. I want to see what's going to happen overall. Looks like my chart, whatever I had charted here, this is when I added it. I added it right over in here. I added equity and I sold cash secure puts. I added equity right around 325 is where I think it was. Low threes. 314 is where it was. That's where it was. We're at 411. A little bit higher than that. We could come to 457. I don't see why we wouldn't go as high as that. In the fives, let's turn the linear chart on. Oh gosh, that looks ugly. Let's do it this way. Yeah, 23 would be wild. I mean, I would be out of all of these when these things really go. Let's take a look at good old Riot. We'll start off with Riot. Riot has diluted so much. They built that gigawatt factory south of Dallas. They are going to be set up right now. It's like the gold rush to it. All the companies are buying each other out. It's who's going to be the bet. It's going to come down to basically a handful of them. But Riot and Mara are going to remain. There's the halving cycle of 2016 where we ran in 2017. Here's the halving cycle of 2020 when Riot was down to like 50 cents and went to 80 something dollars. Right here we are now. I don't like that chart. I don't like that. We need to clear all that. The setup isn't as good. Mara. Let's take a look at Mara here. Still look okay. We have a huge squeeze. I want to take a look on a monthly as well. Yeah, it looks like kind of a flag here. Let's get off the linear chart and take a look. Yeah, that was a reversal candle, but it was below. We have a squeeze. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the weekly again. Weekly looks fine to me. We were holding this trend line right here. So we'll see if we end up breaking out of this and can come back up to where these bodies are in the high 20s, which will happen. It's just a matter of when. When will that happen? And will we go higher this time? Will we hit 100? Because each time it goes higher. Right, we shadow the last time. There's that halving cycle. Here's this halving cycle. Will we go higher? Comes down to the dilution and how much more have they are they making more profit than before? Do they have more Bitcoin than before? Versus how much they've diluted. Right, there's a mathematical equation in there. So, and I haven't had time to do that. I'm reading the charts right now and what's going on with them. I really do, and I'm going to have to shortly. But I've been in Mara since $7 that I called last year in the Discord, and I haven't sold anything. I've had everyone attack me. No one got in when I got in. Then when it ran to 25, then they bought, then it dropped, then they attacked me. Oh, this is ridiculous. It's detached from Bitcoin. It's not. You watch. This will outperform Bitcoin by a mile. Just like last time when it went from a quarter, 25 cents, to $83. Bitcoin didn't do that. This is going to smoke Bitcoin eventually. Let's take a look. What else do we have? BITF. We got some crappy ones that are going to end up getting bought out. The TA on this is the best. Look at the weekly. BTBT and this looks fantastic. I can't even believe how high this thing was before. Let's take a look at a monthly here. That thing was it was at 9. That's not that good, but that's also not bad for a stock that I'm in at, $1.50 and as well as 2. So I could 3x my money potentially. Even if we went back to the hype when we had the Bitcoin ETF when this thing was right around $4, I mean, that's great. But if we can come all the way over in here where this is, right, that's a strong point right there. Look at the tops of these bodies, the bottoms of these wicks, the tops of these bodies and wicks right here. $4 and $4.50 would be great. If we could actually hit 9, that would be unbelievable. WULF. We already covered WULF. We already did. What else is there? That's about it. Last thing I'm going to cover here is BITO. Here's where I added. Right over in here, right there. Right at 14. And I've turned drip on and for dividend reinvestment. and I put $1,400 in. Right now I'm at like $3,400. It's showing I'm down because it was dripping at the top. Doesn't really matter though. We don't have a squeeze on it, and it's hard for it to run vertical very hard because it has a 45 to 50% dividend, so it's going to get smoked with that. Now, if we can come back up in here at this range, I'm number one, turning drip off. Number two, I'm probably going to take some money out of it, and I'll probably sell half, right? So my goal is, I bought 100 shares. I should have bought like 1,000. Obviously, now I'm going to say that. But my goal is to get 100 shares for free. Then I turn drip off. I let it do whatever it wants. In late 2025, I go short it all the way till 2027 when it's time for the next Bitcoin halving. I remove the shorts, then I go long. And just go through that cycle and repeat the process. Ignore my emotions. Follow the Bitcoin halving cycle, right? Let's take a look at, we'll look at the daily real quick here. That doesn't tell me anything. Let's take a look at BITX, leverage Bitcoin. My gosh, this thing's getting ready. This thing could easily come back to 40 bucks. It's probably going to see 60 again. Let's look at MSTU. This thing is just ridiculous. They have a 2x leverage MSTR fund, started at 24. Today we're at 93. It's not showing that right now, but we're at 93 bucks. Let's look at MSTR. MSTR is just going absolutely crazy. Let's take a look at every halving cycle on this thing. Yeah, there's a 20. I don't know if they weren't in Bitcoin. That doesn't count. Here's this halving cycle from basically 10 bucks to 132. Here we are over here from 13 to 255, and we're just getting started on Bitcoin. MSTR could eventually see, I don't even know what, the 300s, 350, 400 bucks. At some point, I'm going to have to start planning an exit, and I don't know when that's going to be. Look at the squeeze right here. We had a squeeze to the downside, dropped. Then we're having a squeeze to the upside, and we exploded there. Look at the long squeeze there before we had that big pop. Doesn't that make sense? Just like on BTBT and some of the other stocks that I showed you have a big squeeze on them. So, yeah, ETH. This isn't going to show me a lot because it hasn't been out that. Actually, yes, it had. 1994. Let's just pretend I didn't pull this up. I got to figure out what the heck's going on with that. Ethereum Mini Trust has been around. No. Okay, something's off on that. Anyways, guys, we're going to pretend I didn't do this last part here. I'm trying to think if there's any. Coinbase, we already covered that in the weekly watch list. Coinbase, I'm expecting to go absolutely nuts. It should see 400 bucks again. Connell is the last one I'll cover. It's a leverage one. Okay. Let's take a look at Connell here. Let's go to the weekly. Weekly looks great. Let's look at the daily. Daily looks great. The weekly actually looks the best. Let's go ahead and chart this out as best as I can. There we go. There we go. This is as best as I can. We can make this tighter as well. You want it to hit as many times as possible. Yeah, there we go. Hitting there, there, and there. Right? I like that. Yeah, this looks fantastic. So I've been selling puts on this. This thing looks like it's going to launch. We should easily come back all the way up to 88 bucks on this. This should go nuts. I've been milking cash secured puts. If I get assigned equity, I'm totally fine with it because Coinbase is going to be making a lot of money on fees because people don't buy before, they buy after. Now, that was a clean setup. Look at that inverted hammer on the weekly. That was your entry. That was your entry right there. And now we're at 216. I bought at 240, which was high, somewhere over in here, expecting us to break out. And I re-added at 164, should have been at 143. And we're at 216. I'm green now. And I'm waiting for us to come up in this range, anywhere up in here, to go ahead and take half off and leave the rest. We have a squeeze. I need us to go higher. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.